You're listening to Tech Talks, a new podcast from Broadcast Tech. Hello, I'm Jake Bickerton and I'm the editor of Broadcast Tech magazine. Welcome to a new series of podcasts from the Broadcast Tech team. Today we're talking with Derek Moore, CEO and co-founder of visual effects house Coffee and TV, about the impact of coronavirus on the post-production and visual effects industry. Can we start by telling us a little bit about Coffee and TV and the history of the company?
So I guess just briefly, we started 7.5 years ago, 2012. We just wanted to do some really cool projects with some clients. So the idea was that we would just connect to each other remotely and present to our clients remotely. We've now got a couple of floors in Broadwick Street in Soho, packed full of amazing people and creative talent. The cost of rent in Soho is obviously horrific, so you try and keep your footprint as low as possible to run an efficient business, so that as much of the client's money goes on the screen rather than to the landlord. Probably a third of our staff at any one time are working remotely, or have been working remotely up until last week. So all connecting into our infrastructure. And so we've got 36 people, sort of permanent staff, and then maybe 10 or so freelancers working with us at the moment. Last week we just realised we were going to have to, be prepared to fully move off-site. So that's a great opportunity because a lot of people actually enjoy the working from home sort of flexibility. The only challenge really then was just doing it all together. That's the communication piece, which we're sort of refining. We're in day 2.5 probably. So we do, we have an all company meeting at 10:45 every day. So it gives people a chance to sort of get rolling with the day and then find any issues or blockages or see what's happened. We'll get together on Zoom for 10 or 15 minutes.
How does that big meeting work? Because I've seen the image with, your 36 people on screen at the same time. It looks fun, but it looks slightly overwhelming. And how do you do it from a logistical point of view?
It is fun. It's still early days, so it may become less fun as time wears on. But we just have a couple of little housekeeping rules. So everybody has to be muted because all of those people with open mics at that time would just be, carnage. There's a chat window at the side, so I'll just give them a little sort of state of play from where we are today, because obviously every day at the moment is a rapidly changing feast. I'll either call people out if I want to hear what the view is, or if anyone's got anything they particularly want to share, issues or positives or whatever's going on for them, they'll just post it in a little chat window on the right-hand side, and I can see that as I'm chatting. So it's quite an interactive format. But it's cool. It's just really lovely to see everyone's face once a day, to realise you're part of something bigger than just you in your bedroom or your office or wherever it is you work.
I guess there's an argument that it's almost bringing the company together more so than having the one physical building with a third of your staff, working elsewhere. They're still working elsewhere, but you kind of feel like you're more all together, I guess. We're
definitely communicating with more intention. When you're in the studio, I think you take it for granted that you sort of bump into people and you have those water cooler moments where you can kind of check in. But the sort of conversations you have are, can be quite flippant and, sort of quite small talk, Whereas when we're communicating now, the reason you get together at a certain time to discuss a certain thing. So the intention of the communication is a lot deeper and a lot more relevant. And so it feels like we're actually getting better at talking to each other and actually making more of an impact by communicating better. I guess we lose some of the nuances. It's harder to read other people in that sort of situation. But I'm hoping that with practice, then we will get a little bit more honest and vulnerable about actually admitting if we've got any issues that we need help with, or I'll certainly try and lead that lead by example, and hope that other people will pick up on that.
And beyond the communication, how is the practical aspect of the work being done? Is it, from a technical point of view, was that easy enough to enable your visual effects artists to do their bit and log into presumably you've got a centralized system where all the data's held and all that kind of stuff? Was it straightforward enough to provide that?
It was fairly straightforward. I wouldn't say it was simple, but I think we're at the perfect size. Like if we were a lot bigger, I think it might have been a challenge. I think if we had been fully in the cloud, we've had data resided in the cloud already, that would have been easier. Currently, we're just using our studio infrastructure as our own cloud. Our workstations and our artists are connecting into their own workstations in the studio via remote networking of some description, TeamViewer, Teradici. So we're not moving massive amounts of data around the country. We're hosting it all centrally, and then people are just connecting into their workstations.
It's only day 2, but when the clients want to view and maybe give some feedback on the work that's done so far, how's that being enabled at the moment?
There's lots of software solutions. We use Frame.io for client reviews, which is a great way of being able to sort of keep version histories and be able to annotate images, like draw on pictures and that kind of stuff. We're expecting a little bit of leniency from clients. They would normally like to come and sit with us and just, watch what's going on. But that can't happen. So we need to be better at communicating what we're doing, when we're doing it. That communication is two-sided, They need to know when to be available to approve things, and the production team are really stepping up in terms of managing that expectation of sort of schedules for comments, approvals, that whole process. That all needs to be scheduled in now as well, whereas before that was just taken as part of the session in the suite. Clients also are quite enjoying being at home and able to have a little bit of a life around their work.
Yeah, that's a nice way of looking at it. I suppose on the flip side, we did a piece that you were part of talking to lots of post-production houses, visual effects companies, and they were saying on the whole, current work's fine, we've got that. But when you kind of project forward a few months, clients are maybe holding out on certain projects that may or may not happen. So there's a bit of uncertainty. Things are definitely being postponed. Certain things are definitely being cancelled. What's it looking like? I know it's very early days, but what's it looking like currently for a business impact of coronavirus for you?
Business impact of coronavirus, you're right, it is very early to tell. Not trying to be mercenary about it, because obviously it's a massive humanitarian crisis. But from a purely business perspective, we create content from nothing, right? That's what we do. We create the stuff that you can't film. Exploding elephants on the moon is our speciality, sort of. So, there is an opportunity for us to be producing content for brands, for agencies, for clients, in the absence of a shoot. Like, what can they say? What do they want to see? What do they want to say? And we can make that. That's what we've always done. So it sort of feels like it might be okay from a business perspective, but, there's also the question mark about a lot of our work is advertising. And it doesn't feel quite the right time to be just selling stuff to people right now.
And do you think what you're learning at the moment in terms of how you're working, taking your London office and then distributing that into, wherever your employees are based, could be something then that would change your business as well going forward? I mean, will you still need, a couple of floors of very expensive real estate?
I would like to think that this has accelerated the opportunity to kind of work remotely, and that whole flexible technology thing that must have accelerated it by 2, 3, 5 years. I don't know. We were already looking at taking another floor in our building in Soho, and it may well be we just don't need to. We're already, producing some great stuff remotely, and it will only get better from here, I think.
It's a really nice, positive way of something that's, on paper terrible, and sounds like it could really be a bad impact on business. Actually, if you can turn it into a positive and give you a chance to completely change the way that you work and ultimately save you money in the future, from a purely business point of view, that's great. But also from a working point of view, your employees will probably really appreciate this too, over time.
It feels a little bit shallow to be talking about the business. That's why we've got such a, health crisis at the moment. But I guess, you're Broadcast Magazine and I'm running a company, and there are a lot of people's livelihoods dependent on the economy. So in that context, you're right. Hopefully this will allow people to spend a bit more time with their families and their loved ones in the long run, while still producing great work for great clients.
Thanks very much, Derek. It's been great. Is there anything else you want to add on this subject?
The only thing that I think the unanswered question is the longer term mental health impact on people working remotely and not having that sense of support from other people. We were already doing mental health coaching for our staff for free, like once a month, check in with a counsellor in the studio. So that's all been moved online, which is cool. We've started a meditation channel, so people are welcome to come and join, and we'll do like a morning meditation together for that sort of stuff. But whether this is going to be improve mental health, or whether it's just a way of just maintaining it, and any other tips and techniques from your readership, actually, in terms of how we can look after our staff and our freelancers and our clients, psychological fitness through all of this. I'm really keen to explore that.
That's a great point. Thanks, Derek. Thanks for listening to the first Tech Talks. I hope you enjoyed it, and there'll be plenty more where this came from. Stay tuned.